Y'all, I want to get to this message. It won't be what is considered a traditional Mother's Day message, but because I can't let holidays dictate the Holy Spirit. But I will do my best to tie in some pointers for our beautiful moms. Let's give our moms one more hand. We thank God for you. You all remember before Resurrection Weekend and Youth Takeover, we're in a series on discipline. And the title to that theme for this Saturday is Choosing the Life We Want to Live. Choosing the life we want to live. And you all know we practical here at Chosen. It's not just about what we do here on Saturdays, but it's about how we live the lifestyle throughout the week. And so I brought 2 worksheets. These worksheets are on the tables outside to my right and your left. So pick up these 2 worksheets on your way out. One of them is called Your Will of Life, and the other one is called Speedy Priority Finder. You all know that I coach executives and help lead business leaders, and these are some of the tools that we use in our business to help do that. And so what I wanted you to do is, once we go through our lesson, this will be a 2-part lesson, choosing the life we want to live, is I want you to take these worksheets home. And the assignment, that's right, you get homework in school, you get homework from Chosen. I want 30 minutes. Everybody say 30 minutes. Prayer time is, I want it quiet. And I want you to pray as you fill these worksheets out. The will of life, it has a will with the major areas of your life on there, and you rank where you think you are in that area. But again, the reason I want you to pray through this worksheet is I don't want you putting where you think you are. I want you to put where God says you are. So get in a quiet place and just think and ask God to guide and direct you as you fill this out. Now, once you fill this out and you see what the weaker areas are, you take this other sheet and you identify the top 3 priorities. Because you can't change everything at once. We like to think that we can do that, but oftentimes we have to focus on what's most important and work our way down. And so here are some questions that will just help you identify how we can be more strategic so that we can choose the life we want to live. So everybody, I want you to listen to your pastor. And I want you to take these 2 worksheets and I want you to find 30 minutes of quiet time. Mom, that may be extra difficult for you, but if you got to get some help, get somebody to watch the kids for a few moments, and make sure that you take the time to pray through this. Because what's our theme for this year? Let me see if y'all been paying attention. What's the theme for this year? Say it loud. I'm different. So if we're going to be different, we have to slow down so we can speed up. Slow down so we can speed up. When you're pruning a tree and you want the growth from that tree, guess what? You also have to prune the good branches so you can get what's great. And so sometimes you have to cut back for growth. And so I want you to pick these up and make sure you spend some time with God so that we can take the necessary steps to actually be different. Author and leadership expert Andy Stanley says, everyone ends up somewhere, but we have the opportunity to end up somewhere on purpose. Okay? Everybody will end up somewhere. To end up somewhere, we don't have to live life with any type of intentionality. Everybody's going to end up somewhere. We'll end up somewhere relationally. We'll end up somewhere educationally. We'll end up somewhere in our health, in our finances, in our careers. That's inevitable. The question is, will Yannik end up somewhere on purpose? That's not a rhetorical question. That's the reason I brought these worksheets. It's because we don't have to try to end up somewhere. You will. That's automatic. But the reason we come to Chosen, the reason we honor God, is because he's given us a purpose. We call it our purpose print. Everybody has a fingerprint that uniquely identifies you. Well, God has given you a purpose print. Nobody has your past. Nobody has the parents that you have and the gifts and the talents and the exact gene pool, etc. You've been printed on purpose. The question is, will we get to God's desired destination? I know what you're thinking, Yannik. How can I end up somewhere on purpose? Here it is. We have to learn to be disciplined instead of busy. Here's the difference, because y'all looking at me crazy. Busy drains purpose, while discipline develops purpose. If God has put you on this planet for purpose, and he has, busy doesn't mean you get to that desired end. Busy is the treadmill of life. You can be on the treadmill and run 3 miles and be in the same location. And some of us feel that way. It's a lot of activity and no movement. I'm working really hard. Why aren't my finances moving? I'm on the treadmill financially. I've been in the same marriage for 15 years. Why aren't we falling more in love? Treadmill of relationship. I've been in school and I'm following like my pastor. I was a freshman for 2 years. I'm in school. I'm active. But there's no purpose there. And I just believe if I'm going to be on this planet, I'm going to live in purpose. That if I'm here, if God thought enough to bring me here, you may not have been the plan of your parents, but you were planned by the Creator. And y'all know what we believe at Chosen, that if God planned for me to be here, nobody manufactures anything without a purpose for it. Ford doesn't make a car that was not meant to be driven. Apple doesn't make a phone that wasn't meant to be used. If you're here, there's a purpose. We might as well live it out. Here's our definition of discipline. Discipline is spending our time and energy on the right goal at the right time and for the right reasons. Will y'all read that with me on 3? 1, 2, 3. Discipline is spending our time and energy on the right goal at the right time and for the right reasons. Here it is. The right goal. If I am working on a goal that was not given to me by God, I can achieve something and still be a failure. That's why I say discipline is first spending our time and energy on the right goal. Because you could be, and I could be spending time on a goal that wasn't God's and think that I'm disciplined when I'm really just busy. So if I'm going to achieve God's goal, If I'm going to spend my time on what God has designed and desired for me to do, that may mean, step one, changing my priorities. I joke with you all the time that Yannik's plan was to be single, be a stockbroker in New York City, and never have to see grass. I was going to stay in one of those nice apartments. My cleaner was going to be there. I was going to have a valet. I was never going to have to worry about grass. It was going to be gravy. I'm a pastor in Augusta, and I've been married for 17 years. Everybody say change. Priorities. If you on the right goal, step two is I've got to have plans. So I may have to change my priorities, but guess what? Once I have the right priority, I've got to create a plan. See, that's where many of us are. I know that God has called me to write this book. Or I know that God has called me to start this business. Or I know that God has called me to choose this school. But here's the thing. Just because you have the education doesn't mean you have the application. How do I accomplish the goal once my priorities have changed? I've got to create a plan. We talked a few weeks ago about the natural drift. The natural drift is when you have a goal, but there's no plan, and you naturally drift away. You don't have to try to drift. Nobody in their life has had to try to be unhealthy. We do that automatically. Nobody has to try to overspend, just don't get a budget, and it's going to happen naturally. You don't have to try to fall out of love. If you don't have a plan for how you're going to grow closer in your marriage, if you don't have a plan for how you can love each other and support each other and make each other feel special, then guess what? You'll fall out of love on accident, but on purpose. Step one is, do I have the right goal? Get that in your notes. This is the season for discernment, because we don't want to be working on the wrong plan. Young people, one of the reasons I'm up here is because I wasted a lot of time on the wrong plan. And I've told y'all before, anything that you do consistently, you don't have to stress over. Anything you do long enough doesn't have to be a stress. If you work out long enough, you don't have to sweat that much when you go to the gym. If you save money long enough, you don't have to save a whole lot of money every month. We need to change priorities, and we need to create plans, and we also, for that to be possible, we have to cultivate piety. What does that mean? That means I have to grow in godliness. I have to have a relationship with God that's not optional, because I can't change priorities and I can't create plans if I don't cultivate piety. If I can't hear from God, how can I have the right goals? And sometimes when you talk about busy versus discipline, like if you tell people, like, bro, you may just need to be more disciplined in this area. Sis, you're not executing in excellence. You need to step up your discipline. Their pushback will be, I'm busy. Like you tell them that you need to be more disciplined, and their response is, well, I stay busy. Busy in discipline. Henry David Thoreau said, it's not enough to be busy. The question is, what are we busy about? See, that's a bar right there. Because just because we're active doesn't mean we're accomplishing anything. Discipline is not synonymous with busy. Busy is spending your time, but discipline is investing your time. What's the difference? Busy is spending time and getting no result from it. Let me equate that to money. Spending money is different from investing money. If I spend money, I don't have much to show for it. If I invest money, I don't have to work for it. It starts working for me. Many of us aren't investing time. So the time that we spend disappears and it develops nothing in our life. See, here's the thing. Time is the most important resource because it's the only thing you can't get back. There'll never be another 5/7/2022, 6:58 p.m. You can get another dollar. You can get another boo or babe. There'll always be another show on Netflix. But here's the question. You'll never get this second back. Are we busy in the core and key areas of our life? On the worksheet, there's some key and core areas. There's friends and family, significant other, personal growth, fun and leisure, home environment, career, money, health. Are we disciplined or busy in those areas? I love Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Yeah, this is just an example. One of the smartest men that ever lived said, compound interest, meaning if we're focused and disciplined versus busy, we shouldn't be complaining about being broke. See, sometimes church folk aggravate me because we brag about the wrong testimony. How many times you gonna talk about how a magic check popped up in your mailbox and God miraculously paid your bill? When can you start paying your bills and trust God for something else? Oh, God, he just keep on showing up. I ain't have a dime, and then, whoa. It's because you've been busy with your money. You were at the club, and you had already planned on how you weren't going to pay your light bill. And then you fuss at your children about lying, but they learned it from you because every time they hit you to get your money, you act like you Korean. Me, wrong number, me. They know it's you because you talking about me not here, me not. They know it's you. But if we were investing time, if we were wise, young people, get this in your notes. You're going to thank me one day. Sometimes y'all get aggravated with me, but I got to hold you accountable. You're not here for any reason. If you're 25 years or younger, raise your hand. 25 years or younger. Girl, you lying. Somebody pray. Pray for her. Yeah, 25 years. Okay, get this in your notes. And when it works for you, come holler at your boy. Come buy me some J's or something. I don't ask for much. $250 a month. $250. Some of us spend that on Starbucks. Y'all pointing at me, but if you can spend that and still save, you good. I ain't telling you what you can't. I'm saying $250 a month for 30 years. With 7% compound interest, which simply means the average stock will yield you 6 to 8% interest year over year. If you invest $250 per month for 30 years, when you are 55, you will have $283,000, $389.97. You will have over $283,000 in the bank. $250 a month will have you over $250,000 by the time you're 55. If you want to be aggressive, double it and you'll be close to a millionaire. 250. See, that's why you can't worry about what everyone else is doing. Let them laugh now, you laugh later. Studies have shown, this is pretty much fact, that 3 times a week workout reduces heart disease, depression, weight gain, diabetes, and certain types of cancers. 3 times a week. That's what it decreases, but it increases self-esteem, discipline, confidence, mental health. 3 times. And what's so crazy is that nowadays we don't even have to go to the gym to work out. There's apps. But the strongest thing on our body is our thumb. I'm just keeping it real. That's why that 30 minutes a day that I know you spend on social media could be spent on your health. That's the difference between busy and investing. Because you can't tell me what came from your 30 minutes on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. But I can tell you what will come from 30 minutes in the gym. I just told you. Listen, if I could scream it, I would. God has a purpose and a plan. Why does everything else matter more than him? Busy is not what believers should be. If you don't believe in God, I'm glad you're here. Y'all know Chosen reaches people of all types of faith and all different levels of faith, because they can come here and learn and grow and get to where we are. But if you are a believer, guess what? Your time isn't your own. So here's the goal for today. How do we shift from busy to discipline? First thing is, I think we need a new perspective of time. Did you know that time is spiritual? Here it is. Y'all don't believe me. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from darkness. God called the light day and the darkness night. And evening passed and morning came, marking the first what? Who made time? Because he sits outside of it. So the only person that doesn't have to worry about time is God. So if God made time and God is a spirit, then what does that make time? Spiritual. I love Ecclesiastes 3:1. It says, there is a time for what? A season for every activity under the heavens. Are we doing what God has called us to do in the right season? If we're not doing what God has called us to do in the right season, we'll be busy versus discipline. Step one, to go from busy to discipline, I must filter decisions by what has the greatest eternal value. Get that in your notes. If I'm going to shift from busy to discipline, I must filter decisions through what has the greatest eternal value. What is the best investment, not just for my life on this planet, but for my life everlasting, my life in heaven? Here's a test. Y'all can respond to this, all right? Which of these tasks has the most eternal value? Cleaning your house or working out your body? Raise your hand if you think it's cleaning the house. We got a couple. Some neat freaks, yeah. Okay. Lamar. You know that you don't live in your house. You live in your body. Your body is your temple, not the house. Now, I'm not saying keep a dirty house. I'm not saying that. But because your stuff needs to be clean to think clear. You need to take care of the blessings that God has given you. But what I am saying is that there should be conviction if you take care of what you don't live in and don't take care of what you do live in. I may have said that wrong. It should be conviction if you take care of what you don't live in and neglect what you do live in. How can I clean the house and not clean my body? I'm not saying they're not both important, but I'm just saying if I have to pick one, I've got to leave the house a little unkept, because what matters the most is my temple, and I would prefer to be healthy living in a dirty house than having a clean house and I can't even live in it because I'm in the hospital. So many of us, and let me talk to the mamas for a moment, you have not gotten comfortable with imperfection. You think everything has to be perfect, and you stress yourself out trying to achieve a goal that hadn't been achieved by anyone on the planet. You're worried about the children being perfect. You're worried about the meal being perfect. You're worried about the career being perfect. You're worried about your makeup being perfect. You're worried about all these things instead of prioritizing what's most important and saying that will get done whenever I get to it. Because the only person that really cares about the dirty clothes are you. And you beat yourself up because you can't get it all done, but why would you set an expectation that can't be met? You have to prioritize what's most important. There are some things that I've gotten very comfortable with saying, that's not going to happen for me. And I've had to spend a lot of painstaking time in prayer, in therapy, trying to get my priorities lined up so that I could get comfortable with stuff that wasn't my calling. So there's some things that Yannik McKie won't ever know how to do. But I'm comfortable because I believe that the most important things in my life get done. Which one of these tasks has the most eternal value? Investing in my business or investing in my marriage? Marriage. Just like the house and body example. I told an executive that I was helping, and the business was thriving, and he was making money, but the relationship wasn't, and I asked him a question. I said, what's the most important part of your business? It wasn't marketing. It wasn't operations. It wasn't finance. I told him, you want to know what I told him? I said, it's your marriage. What do you mean? She don't work for me. But if she leaves you, she get half in Georgia. So what's important, most important to miss, that meeting or date night? The meeting. If there's a meeting that will cause you to lose half of your business, something is wrong. But keep missing date night and act like work is more important than the relationship. You'll find out the most important metric in your business was your marriage. And I'm a businessman. And I'm pretty ambitious. And they're both important, just like having a clean car and a clean house and a nice yard. It's important. But guess what? If everything's on the same level of importance, nothing is important. So if I can't do both, I got to pick the one that has the most eternal value. And God ain't going to ask me about my business when I get to heaven. He going to ask me about my bride. Did you love her how I loved you? Did you set the example in your home? Were you a man that your kids could look up to? Were you... So if I'm too busy, I could end up a millionaire with a messed up marriage. And the only person that cares about your bank account is you. You want to know what I realized about my children? That what they care most about is me. I used to think, I got to give them this and I got to do that. But what they preferred was me. What made me feel good was giving them stuff. But that's not what made them feel good. I could play Uno with my children in my office, and they happier than they would be if they was on a vacation in Bermuda. But because there's something spiritual at work. There's something that you can't put a price tag on. And so what the enemy wants to do is have you achieving the goals that you think are most important and ignoring God's. God cares more about your body than he does your clean house. He cares more about your marriage than he does your money. He cares more about your children than he does your career. It's time for us to reprioritize. Here it is. You've got 3 levels of task, and I'm done after this. We'll get to part 2 next week. You've got 3 levels of task. You've got do-it-yourself task. Do-it-yourself tasks are personal and purposeful tasks that only you can do or that you do better. Those are do-it-yourself tasks. So what I've identified in my life is unique. What are the main do-it-yourself tasks that can't be delegated. One of them, the do-it-yourself task as it relates to ministry, this is just an example, is communicating. I am the lead pastor. So I've decided that most of the communication, not all, because we have some great teachers here, but most of the communication comes from me. Because that is my do-it-yourself task that will mean the most as it relates to the purpose of Chosen. Because though God has brought great leaders and great support, he gave me the vision. Here it is. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ that does what? Strengthens me. What it doesn't say is I should do everything. It says I can do all things through Christ, but what it doesn't say is that I should do everything. See, I've got to have some specific task as a business owner, as a pastor, as a husband, you as a mom, you as a father, you as a business leader, you as a minister, that you have decided as it relates to the greatest eternal value, my calling and purpose, this is something that can't be delegated. And that becomes top priority. Guess what? I can get somebody to wash my car. I can't get somebody to work out for me. So I will never give up the gym to have a clean car. That takes me to the second level of task. You've got do-it-yourself task. Get this in your notes. Then you've got delegated task. A delegated task are purposeful but not personally important enough to monopolize your time and or a task that somebody else does better. I told you all that the first hire we made here at Chosen was a care pastor. Because caring for people kept me from my highest gifting, which was communicating. Not that I didn't care. I love you all, but my gift and my spiritual gift is different from Brennan's. So I realized that I couldn't care and communicate at the level that I needed to. So I couldn't delegate the communication because God called me to the stage, but I needed to delegate the care. So I still visit hospitals. I still do counseling, but 90% of it is done by Brennan. Why? Because he's better at it and I'm better at something else. So you've got do-it-yourself task. So when I talked about the business example, just to make it plain, we overestimate our importance. So one of the things that I had to do was I had to start delegating so I could elevate. Delegate and elevate, meaning I realized that when I looked at my schedule, not only did I need to hire a care pastor, I needed somebody who could help me with administration. Because the administrative tasks were taking me away from my home. So now I know that I couldn't delegate my dating. But I could delegate some of my meetings. So if I overestimated my importance and lacked the ability to train, I would say, man, I gotta be there, I gotta be there, I gotta be there. And some of y'all are living that I gotta be there, I gotta be, because you feel like you're the only one that can get something done. That means you're not leading, you're not delegating so that you can elevate. So take the time to train people to do the things that should be on your delegation list versus your do-it-yourself list. Sometimes we gotta slow down to speed up. If only you can work out your body, but you like a clean house, and you spend 2 or 3 hours a week cleaning up, could that be a delegated task? Because some of your kids need to learn how to do something. How you let your kid be on the iPhone and you doing all the work when they don't pay NAN bill? Train your kids how to do some of that stuff and you go get healthy. Some of you all make enough money to hire somebody, but you can't hire them to work out, but you can hire them to clean. You'll never see me cutting grass. That's a delegated task for me. Why? Because if I spent an hour in the yard, that's my workout time. And I prefer to be healthy, and I'll delegate that. Why? Because what has the greatest eternal value? Unique being healthy. Unique being mentally acute. I could care less what y'all think about my yard. And then you've got deleted task. There's some stuff you don't need to do, period. That's so good. You got do-it-yourself tasks. That are things that mean the most to God and should mean the most to you, that only you can do. And then what you can't fill up in that time becomes a delegated task. I love Acts 6:1-5. Look at what they did on the delegated task. But as the believers rapidly multiplied, there were rumblings of discontent. The Greek-speaking believers complained about the Hebrew-speaking believers, saying that their widows were being discriminated against in the daily distribution of food. I love this. So the 12, those were the apostles, those were those who walked with Jesus, those were those that had wisdom and discernment. They called a meeting of all the believers. They said, we apostles should spend our time teaching the word of God, not running a food program. Do I care about people being hungry? Absolutely. I saw Jesus feed the hungry. But guess what? As an apostle, the most important part of my job is teaching the word of God, not running a community center. And so this can't be a do-it-myself task. This has to be a delegated task. Verse 3, and so brothers selected 7 men who are well respected and are full of the Spirit and wisdom. We will give them this responsibility. Then we apostles can spend our time in prayer and teaching the word. Are hungry people important? Absolutely. Is making money important? Absolutely. Is a healthy and happy home important? Absolutely. But you got to know your calling so you can discern what needs to be a do-it-yourself or a delegated task. They looked at themselves and said, I'm an apostle. I've been called to teach. I've been called to pray. And so I'm not ignoring people. That's going to get done. It just ain't going to get done by me. It's okay if it doesn't get done by you. Mamas, all eyes on me. It's okay if it doesn't get done by you. You're not a bad mom because you can't do it all. You're not a bad mom because you can't cook, clean, and grow your career. You're not a bad mom if the dishes get a little dirty or the clothes begin to pile up. What makes you a good mom is your love and your care, and sometimes that means putting yourself first. Don't let the world dictate what you do. Let the word dictate what you do. There's do-it-yourself task. That's something that only you can do, and it means the most to your calling and your creator. So when I ask you about this, don't tell me that the do-it-yourself tasks aren't getting done because you're doing stuff that you could delegate. Don't tell me you can't text good health to 706-725-4902. Shameless plug for our health ministry. Don't tell me you don't have time to take care of your temple because you're too busy. Don't tell me you don't have time to pour into your most important relationships because you're worried about elevating your business. Guess what? That's ego, not God. Because what I've realized, and my wife can attest, I make more money now doing less. Because it's amazing what will happen when you get in some quiet time and really begin discerning what it is you need to do and really asking God what's most important to him and realigning some of your will and your wants to line up with God's will, what he'll do. Because he said, seek ye first my kingdom and seek ye first my righteousness, and then everything else will be added unto you. If you'll put me first, I'll take care of some of that other stuff. If you learn to trust me, I'll take care of some of the stuff that's troubling you. If you'll just lean on me, you'll get more done in less time. We're leaning on ourselves and we're busy versus discipline. You trying to do it all yourself. You're doing delegated tasks and you ain't even reading your word. You got so much going on, there's no time for God. Guess what? Reading your word, let me make sure y'all paying attention. Y'all been a great crowd, by the way. What category would reading your word and devotion go in? No, what are the categories? Do it yourself? What, delegate it, come on. And delete it. What category would do? Thank you. Y'all making me look bad on the live stream. What category is worship? What category is caring for your spouse? All right, y'all getting better. Y'all slow, but y'all worth waiting on. What category is working out and eating healthy? If I am not doing those things, I'm out of order. These things are not suggestions, they're commandments. If I'm not being disciplined with my finances, I'm out of order. If I'm not being disciplined in my body, I'm out of order. If I'm not being disciplined with how I live my life and the example I set for my kids, I'm out of order. If I'm not disciplined with loving my spouse, if they aren't one of the most important things in my life, I'm out of order. And when you're out of order, you end up somewhere, but you don't end up somewhere.